Hey guys, welcome back to your YouTube channel Accounts Guru Cool. Learn accounting online. So today we are here with one more content, and in this we are going to discuss about R2R interview readiness, self-assessment questions to ask yourself. So there are certain list of questions you have to ask to yourself before going to attend any interview to analyze either you're ready to give the interview or not. And if you are able to give the answer of these questions, then you have to be more confident and give interview related to R2R. And this is going to be the one of the important one to do the self assessment. And you have to ask the certain question to yourself before going to attend any interview, or when you are looking yourself to do the role change, then you have to go through with some profiles from the openings and see the job descriptions over there, and based on the job descriptions you have to create the certain questions related to that and ask to yourself either you're able to give the answer for that or not, and if it's not, you need to get the answer for that, and then you have to go for an interview. That's going to be considered as a self-assessment question to ask yourself. That's all we are going to discuss here. So request all the viewers to be with us. And if you're looking for any sort of training related to accounting and finance, either that's going to be R2R, P2P, O2C, FP&A, or any software related training, then you can connect with us on our email ID accounts.gurukul@yahoo.com, or you can visit to our websites as well. That's accountsgurukul.com. So we'll jump towards that to know what sort of self-assessment questions you have to ask to yourself. The first question is related to this. Tell me about yourself and your experience in record to report. So this is going to be the important one. You have to ask this question to yourself. Tell me about yourself and your experience in R2R. So this question is going to analyze. One thing is interviewer is going to know that about your introductions. Tell me about yourself. So you have to give the brief introductions about yourself. And second, your experience in R2R. So your relevant experience also is important here. You have to explain related to record to report. Next is going to be what are the key components of the record to report process. So now if you see the pattern of the questions, this all is related to experienced person's interview, and it's going to have a minimum 4 to 5 years of experience into R2R, or you can say the managerial level of interview questions is here. So you have to be prepare yourself in a latter way. So the second question is, what are the key components of the record to report process? And when you have the experience, then you are able to know that what are the key components of the record to report process. Next, how do you ensure accuracy in your financial reports? The R2R, that's record to report, that word itself is described in a two sentence or two words instead of sentence. One is record and second is report. So you're going to do the reporting of recorded transactions. So from the recorded transactions, it's important for you to ensure the accuracy. Then how do you ensure accuracy in your financial reports? How you? This is question you have to ask to yourself and try to give the answer for that. And if it's not, you're free to put it in the comment from these list of the questions. If you are not able to find out the answer for any one, you have to ask us with just a serial number, like please explain the answer, how to give the answer in interview for serial number 3, or you can put it the questions uh, over there as well. So we are here to answer for that. Next is going to explain the importance of the general ledger in R2R. How much is the importance of the GL in R2R? The fifth, what is a journal entry? Can you explain the types of journal entries? This is also the one of the important question to know how much in depth you have the knowledge about the journal entries. What is a journal entry? And can you explain the types of journal entries? Next is, how do you handle intercompany transactions? These intercompany transactions or intercompany reconciliations, or this particular the word of intercompany is important in R2R. When we have the holding and subsidiary or multiple entities, then the intercompany transaction is one of the important concept in R2R. Then how do you handle the intercompany transactions? So that's the question is going to be. Next is towards, describe your experience with month-end and year-end closing activities. How your experience with month-end and year-end closing activities. So you have to give the answer of all these questions to yourself. You have to honest with yourself. Either you are able to give it the answer for this or not. And if it's not, you have to do the more practice for that. You have to gather the knowledge for that. So describe your experience with month-end and year-end closing activities. What accounting software or ERP systems have you worked with? You can say based on your experience, Tally, Zoho, QuickBooks, then Oracle, SAP, or any other software. How do you approach variance analysis? When you are preparing the variance analysis, this is going to be the comparative between budgeted versus actual, or previous years, particular that quarter versus this year's quarter, or previous month versus this month. How you do variance analysis? How do you approach for variance analysis? That's going to be the questions here. What steps do you take for account reconciliations? So see, again, the way the questions is added here, that each and every questions is going to be the part of your interview. When you are looking yourself to reach at a manager positions, at a lead positions, then these are all the questions is going to be. Since these are all questions related to the experienced persons, the person who has more than 4-5 years of experience, and he is, you can say, the expert into R2R, that sort of questions is added here. And if you have the answer of all these, and if you are able to explain through your experience, then you are going to crack the interview. So this is going to be the one of the self-assessment questions. It's important for you to ask to yourself and give the answer for that. And trust me, these are all the questions is going to be the important one. We have the 30 questions here. We just reach at 10. Now we'll jump towards the next one. Explain the significance of compliance and internal controls in R2R. Next is towards, how do you manage data integrity during financial consolidation? What challenges have you faced in the R2R cycle and how did you overcome them? How do you prioritize tasks during a busy closing period? What is your understanding of SOX compliance in R2R? Can you explain the role of fixed asset accounting in R2R? These are all the practical based questions. These are all the experience based questions. And for each and every questions, your experience is going to give the answer for that. What is your understanding about the SOX compliances in R2R? If you work on that, if you handle that, and if you know that concept, then only you are able to give the answer for this. Can you explain the role of fixed asset accounting in R2R? If you handle the fixed assets accounting, then you are able to give the answer for that. If you haven't handled that, but at least it's important for you to have an in-depth knowledge about the fixed assets accounting in R2R, how the cycle is worked from the purchase of the fixed asset to till the capitalizations, what sort of entry is going to be over there, then you can able to explain for that. And that's the reason it's important for the self-assessment question to ask yourself. Next is, how do you ensure confidentiality and security of financial data? Describe a time you identified and corrected a significant error in financial reporting. You have to explain. You have to give the some answer for here. What is the trial balance and why it is important? How do you stay updated with accounting standards and regulations? You have to give the examples of that and add the some new standards or regulations related to updated with accounting one. Have you worked with automated R2R tools? Which one? Then you have to give the answer for that as well, like blockchain, blackline, or any other automated R2R tools on which you work. What are the critical KPIs you track in R2R when you have worked and you track your R2R, and what sort of KPI, what are the critical KPI you added in your checklist when you work in R2R. So that's going to be the important here. Explain the difference between the cash basis and accrual basis of accounting. How do you handle audit request during the financial close? What is your experience with statutory and management reporting? How do you handle discrepancies between sub-ledger and the general ledger? This is related to your SLGL knowledge. How do you handle discrepancies between SL and GL? Can you explain the concept of deferred revenue? Next is towards describe your process for closing fixed asset registers monthly. What strategies do you use for effective communications within the finance team? And the last one, why do you want to work in this R2R role? Now, if you see all these 30 questions, what we had discussed here, this all is related to uh, the questions is going to be for an experienced person. And if you are looking for any uh, higher positions rules, then these are all the questions is going to be. And we already added the other questions of the 50 plus questions we have added, what you have to do the practice for that. And in addition to that, this is going to be the 31. So you have the 50 plus this 30 is equal to 80 questions in front of you. Then you have to give the answer for that. You have to try to give the answer for that. And if uh, any of these questions or from any one questions from the list of this 80, earlier one is 50 plus this 30, then you have to put it in the comment respective that content and ask us to give the answer for that or clarify what's the meaning of that, how that work is going into the practical and how you have to give the answer for that. And we are here to answer as per your comment. But yes, you have to go through with this. You have to ask the question to yourself. You have to do the self-assessment, and then only you need to go and give the interview. So considering that we are here, so thanks guys for being with us and request all the viewers to subscribe our channel, like our content and ask us to create a content as per your requirement, as per your need. And if you guys are looking for any sort of training related to accounting and finance, you can connect with us on our email ID accounts.gurukul@yahoo.com. If you want to know more about our course content, then you can visit to our website, that's accountsgurukul.com. Thank you.